Welcome to the Iwan Gulenko recruitment and business show. Today we talk about how to make people care. This show will be very disappointing because I believe at the end we will not have a clear recipe how to reach the goal, but we will talk through some points that I find important to keep in mind after running a recruitment company for 10 years, and I would like to share those with you. As an employee, by definition, you care less than the business owner because you're paid by the hours, you're given exact tasks to follow or semi-exact tasks. So therefore, how do you justify or what's a better word, how do you make people actually care so they do the work without you having to push them all the time? The first thought that one might have, well, just hire the right people, right? If you want people to care, just hire, like, for example, family members, because by definition, I mean, they're also like depending on the success of the business. So this will be great, right? So I know someone who actually did this quite successfully. He's like a kebab store owner. He has like 10 kebabs in Germany. And obviously the kebab workers, they're all cousins and family members. This, of course, is very helpful because you will not, or you're less likely to have people like stealing the change from the cash box and stuff. But then the question is this applicable to other businesses? And partly only so, because if you have like businesses where you really have to teach people, you have to reward them, you have to punish them, it's very challenging with family members, right? Because you can't really fire them in the end. Also, this is like a big point in jobs where it's about like more complicated procedures in service businesses where you do consulting, recruiting, all kinds of such things. So basically here, one has to learn that if you work with family members, for example, on tasks that they are more, let's say, it's more logical for them to do, right? The finance stuff. It's easier to trust like a family member, just, okay, do the finances. It's also very repetitive and clear usually. So that tends to work more than hire family members in jobs where it's really performance based. So where it's really like, okay, if you don't perform, you are let go, which is basically sales and recruitment usually. So this is much harder. And I have not seen this done successfully in practice really. Maybe somebody has, please let me know in the comments. So another point would be like hiring, let's say, students because they are eager to learn. But that also is partly true and partly not true because they have like other stuff to do, their studies. So always if you hire people where it's clear their life priority is on another thing, you will have a harder time to really motivate them and make them really, 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 really care. And this is, well, the most important thing if you want to work with people long term. Then there's another aspect, hiring people who already have some experience and they're really like in a life situation where really they need to like get results. This is this topic of, okay, if you hire a salesperson, they drive a cheap car, don't hire them. If they drive a car which is super expensive, hire them because they have to probably pay a monthly leasing rate or whatever and they will perform. And unfortunately, my life experience is very similar. Yeah, people who, let's say, are in a life situation where really they need to get to financial results because their family relies on them or similar, like outer situations where otherwise the job market isn't giving them many options, that unfortunately forces people to really care. And I tell you, people think that what is important is what they tell you all the time, like, go to university, get skills, get all this knowledge in and stuff. That is, of course, not the worst idea to go to to really like study and not like do stupid stuff. But at the end of the day, what really beats all experience, skills, knowledge is actually if you show that you care. I literally have never seen somebody who is like, where the attitude is very basic, but they are really super experienced, or in the long term overperformed somebody who is like super, let's say, unexperienced, but they really, really, really care. They really care to get your business forward, to get to results. We all know these people, right? In school, group work, like there's always one person who really cares and pulls everybody forward, and there's like other people who are like more or less dragged along like sacks of rice, you know? These kind of people, that is not necessarily bad, because these people who are like sacks of rice in one context, they might be like extreme overperformers, like give them like another context, right? So it's really not so like, it is of course about the person, but it's also about the context you put the people in. So basically people in this, circumstance where they are forced to care, this is like, unfortunately, how it's the easiest way to get people to really, really care, right? So, because the opposite I also like had, right? We hired like a rather senior person because I was like, okay, this obviously the skills are there, like everything is there. But you could tell like this is for them, we separated after 3 weeks ish. And the reason was just like, I see you do, like, you do like, they would start discussions internally about how to improve like this fun stuff, right? They would never do like, they would not do the hard work, but the nice work. And then I was like, what's the, background? And then it turned out, well, they have like, 5 houses at the ocean in Europe somewhere. And so money is not a priority for them. They don't need earning money. They would just like a cool recruitment job. Let's like, get into it and stuff. It sounds cool. And yeah, you could tell that they don't need actually to get money, and therefore they don't need actually to produce results, and therefore they actually a little bit hesitate to do the hard work, right? So it's like, if you are going to the gym, you want to have a certain physique, right? You have to do exactly this. It's very hard, but like otherwise I won't get the result. But if you're like, you don't have this goal, if you just have the goal to have some entertainment, this will be uh, how to say, displayed in your attitude. I think I will say now something that people will beat me up on social media. Maybe it's this because in Europe, you have the social net, so everybody's like, okay, if I'm let go, then 2 years, I get 80% of my salary, at least like this is what is in Switzerland. And in US, it's like, okay, like, it's much less than that. There's also like, social help for like unemployment, but it's completely different and much, much, much lower. And in the rest of the world, there's basically zero. Right? So people maybe tend to work harder in some regions of the world and less hard in others. I don't know. Could be. But at the end of the day, it's of course the internal attitude, right? For example, if I look at my dad, right, we immigrated to Germany, and basically after 2 weeks or something like that, he was like, no German language skills, nothing. Like, the first thing in the newspaper he found, he got one job. Then like 2 months later, he got like another job. At some point, my dad had 5 jobs at the same time. I'm not even kidding. He would do like weekend stuff where it's like some, maintenance here, then some handyman there, then some electronics over there. And yeah, at some point he actually had 5 jobs that he held simultaneously, just to like, the first one he got very, very quick, like literally 2 weeks or something like that, to get off of the welfare, right? This was 99, like at the beginning of the 90s. Now the kid, I run a recruitment company, and I'm like talking to people making probably 3x what my dad was making. Uh, and they tell me, oh, I'd rather sit on 2 years on government unemployment than take this job where it's like 5K less in salary. So this is how and this is both engineers, right? So from the profession, they would both be engineers, but the mentality and the attitude is like 2 solar systems apart, right? So you can think that if you're hiring people or working with people, you have to see, okay, where is the person on in the spectrum? And usually you can tell, right, by talking to them. Me, as a third-party recruiter, I get to hear like everything, transparently. Yeah, I sometimes hear things that I rather would not hear. Exactly that, right? That the lack of attitude to the, contribute to society, contribute to somehow making things better. I think after COVID, it started where people really wouldn't care about anything anymore. Before COVID, it was much more the really, oh, I want to improve my career. I want to do like new cool things, right? Maybe it's correlated, of course, with the job offers that are out there that are now, as I'm recording this, in the end of 2024, much less compared to 2021, where it was like basically people would get, insane offers, and companies would overbid each other, like just to hire this one person and stuff. So that's not happening right now. Yeah, so like, is money then the real motivator? This would be the obvious thing, right? It's like, oh, I want to learn, certainly for people who work in sales and similar jobs. But like for most people, especially now, as everywhere, like kind of the life quality gets higher and higher. It's like not, it's like, how much does it like bring you in value if you make more money, if you at the same time have massive stress? So then how to, make people care? The like real thing would be like what religions do, or basically ideologies, right? Like 20th century, the bloodiest like, times in human history. Or some people come in power, 100 million peasants like just murdered in like 10 years or something like that. Or other things that are basically, what, like make people properly, recruit with me, like, full blown writing people on LinkedIn and motivating them to change jobs if it fits, And there's like some guy somewhere and like he just made people murder 100 million people just like that. So therefore, ideologies obviously is quite strong. You really like promise, like the people really like, they have like a goal and they work towards it, be it bad or good. And yeah, religions have this, people, they want something that is like beyond them to really, do something that benefits not just them, their family, but like their like country or humanity, right? This is what is happening in their head. This is why they like overperform and either do really, really good things or really, really bad things. So how to like use this in business? I mean, companies try to do this. This is where we have this thing coming from with like, okay, we are all a family. Our mission is this and that. And please, let's, spend time together in social activities and play after hours something together. So we are bonding. I really don't know if I like this. I think I don't, because obviously it's a bit of a lie, because, well, you come together to get to a result, right? But as we said before, this is not so motivating, right? If you're just, okay, we'll need to, produce this output and just, do stuff. Back then, if you just, need to carry stones from one point to the other, or, do some very, very observable task like Taylorism work, right? Like division of labor. And then you could like really count, okay, this person carried that many stones, so they are good, and the others are not good because the stones they carried in the same time is much lower number. But here now we have like knowledge work where it's completely different. This is why companies try to do this weird stuff with the like, okay, let's motivate each other to be like a family together and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there must be like another way, right? There must be probably a way where you just like give something in between, like kind of like, okay, you do good things. In our case would be recruitment. Obviously, we put people in jobs that otherwise wouldn't have maybe found this job. Maybe they would, right? We don't know. So definitely we do activate certain, let's say we are like, yeah, motivational coaches, basically. We push people towards a decision that will help them, because if it doesn't help us also, right? The worst thing you can have is like somebody canceling in probation period, like super quickly. This doesn't help no one. So what would be the solution now, right? How can you make people actually care that, yeah, your business is also, in their hands, to make them part of your team? I don't know. Probably it's really just, yeah, you need to filter the right personalities, like my dad, right? Would really work hard. Okay, this is a very clear, situation. I'm being paid to apply my labor to help this company to succeed. And he would do this without like big, thinking about other things, in the sense of, okay, oh, why is this bad company earning so much money off of off of my skills? It would be like, he would like never have such things. Although you might expect this because like someone was raised in basically communism, right? But it probably depends on the person, like what is stuck with you. With some people, what is stuck with them is like, thankfulness that you have the opportunity to like use your skills and nothing less. So yeah, it's an interesting world and times we live in, and we need to deal with that, right? Everybody says and talks about this, oh, the generation Z or whatever, they are like, lazier or the young. I mean, there is probably something like that, but then it's also more easy to filter for people, like people who actually want results and others who just want, to have fun, as they say. So basically, the way to go forward is basically to focus on, I guess, checking the person really, really well. So everything which is just, 30-minute conversation doesn't cut it. What you have to do is, when hiring, you have to interact before you sign the work contract. You have to interact with them as much as you can. So if you have remote meetings, why not let them take part, check it out. This is one thing we tried, right? We have meetings about stuff, and then it's okay, why don't you just join that and check it out, how you like collaborating with the rest of the team. All these approaches that increase the signal that you get from people, right? Not just okay, the resume and a 30-minute call. Because on the 30-minute call hiring, everybody's nice. It's amazing, right? But what comes afterwards is usually disappointing, because then really, man, I mean, you can fake 30 minutes, but you can fake follow-ups and discussions afterwards. So this is how I do it. And the most successful clients of ours, right? They would have the longest interview processes. Really, the potential hire needs to speak with everybody from the company, 20 people company, that you speak to everybody. And some candidates nowadays, they literally can't stop complaining about this. They're like, why is this so long? Other companies, just 2-hour, meeting with two people. And I'm like, look, this is for you. If you sign this contract, work contract, you must be super confident that this company is really, really fitting you, and not sign something which you have to revoke in 3 months down the line. This is stupid. So for me, it's actually a big shock. I never had that, right? When I was 19, when I was 22, 25, something looking for me, it was always okay, I want to spend the maximum amount of time reasonable with a potential company before I sign the work contract. I would even, have companies who had super short interview rounds, talk to 2 people and then here's the job offer. I'd ask them, hey, tomorrow you have lunch, right? Every day, can I just come by, hop by and then, spend just, it doesn't cost you anything, right? It's just, you're going, the team is going for lunch, I'll just join. And they're like, yeah, sure. And then I found out, well, at lunch they speak about whatever, what was it, soccer, right? Who won the game? And so I'm not into that. So it's not that I'm better because I'm not into that. It's just I'm not into that. So yeah, and many such things, right? And then, yeah, I made the decision, due to the, more signal that I got, I could, make a much better decision. And with the, question how to make people care, after now 20 minutes almost talking, my conclusion is you can't. And this is maybe really cheesy, but, you have to just pick the right people. Apparently, do people care or not? Maybe this is inherent in them, right? I mean, there is ways, obviously, to kill it, right? I would say the ability to care is inherent, but then you can make them not care by being too harsh in your criticism. This is definitely a mistake I constantly make. I always forget, okay, if you criticize something, you should also say some nice words. I think the nice words, but sometimes I forget to articulate them, which is not good, right? Yeah. So I think the ability to really, really care is probably inherent. This is learning number 1. Learning number 2, I think you can by accident kill it temporarily, right? So people don't care, right? And then at the end of the day, you should just teach them to do the work properly, but this goes without saying. But the caring part, I believe, is very much inherent. So you should really observe who you spend the time with, who you work with, who you hire. And with that wise words, I let you go and wish you a great rest of the day.